Hello, welcome to the Echoes Across the Valley. If you are new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Biography of Julius Nyerere. Julius Nyerere was a Tanzanian politician, anti-colonial activist and political theorist. He governed Tanganyika as a prime minister from 1961 to 1962 and then as president from 1962 to 1964, after which he led its successor state, Tanzania, as president from 1964 to 1985. He was a founding member and chair of the Tanganyika African National Union (TANU) party and of its successor, Chama cha Mapinduzi, from 1954 to 1990. Ideologically an African nationalist and African socialist, he promoted a political philosophy known as Ujamaa or familyhood. Julius Nyerere was born on 13th April 1922 in Mwitongo, an area of the village of Butiama in Tanganyika's Mara region. He was one of the 25 surviving children of Nyerere Bulito, the chief of the Zenaki people. Nyerere began his academic journey at a native administrative school in Musenge, Musoma, in February 1934 and was a very brilliant student, such that he was allowed to skip grades. His elementary schooling ended in 1936 and his final exam results were the highest of any pupil in the Lake Province and Western Province region. His academic excellence allowed him to gain a government scholarship to attend the elite Tabora Government School, a secondary school in Tabora. While in secondary school, he read a lot and advanced his knowledge of English to a high standard. He was heavily involved in the school's debating society and teachers recommended him as head prefect, but this was vetoed by the headmaster, who described Nyerere as being too kind for the position. In October 1941, Nyerere completed his secondary education and decided to study at Nyerere College in the Ugandan city of Kampala. Having secured a bursary for training as a teacher, he arrived in Uganda in 1943 to begin his studies at Nyerere. While at Nyerere, Nyerere took courses in chemistry, biology, Latin, and Greek. Nyerere first worked as a secondary school teacher in Tabora Boys School. While at school, he took part in debates and outside school hours gave free lessons in English to older locals and also gave talks on political issues. He also worked briefly as a price inspector for the government, going into stores to check what they were charging, although he quit the position after authorities ignored his reports about false pricing. In 1949, Nyerere flew to London to begin his studies at the University of Edinburgh, becoming one of the few Africans to pursue their studies there at the time. While here, he took courses in English, literature, political economy, and social anthropology. In 1952, he returned Tanganyika from abroad and he became increasingly involved in politics. In April 1953, he was elected president of Tanganyika African Association. His ability to take on this position was influenced by his good oratory skills and the fact that he was Zenaki, one of the largest ethnic groups. Under Nyerere, the Tanganyika African Association gained an increasingly political dimension devoted to the pursuit of Tanganyika's independence from the British Empire. On 7th July 1954, Nyerere, assisted by Oscar Kambona, transformed the Tanganyika African Association into a new political party, the Tanganyika African National Union. At the Tanganyika African National Union's meetings, Nyerere insisted on the need for Tanganyika's independence, but maintained that the country's European and Asian minorities would not be rejected by an African-led independent government. Nyerere greatly admired and endorsed Mahatma Gandhi's approach to attaining independence through non-violent protests. In March 1959, the new British governor of Tanganyika, Richard Turnbull, gave the Tanganyika African National Union 5 of the 12 ministerial posts available in the colony's government. In 1960, Nyerere attended a conference of independent African states in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, at which he presented a paper calling for the formation of an East African Federation. However, the odds against this were high. In August 1960 general elections, the Tanganyika African National Union won 70 of the 71 available seats. As the party leader, Nyerere was called to form a new government, becoming its chief minister. In March 1961, a constitutional conference was held in Dar es Salaam to determine the nature of an independent constitution, and both anti-colonial campaigners and British officials were invited. In May 1961, Tanganyika achieved self-governance and Nyerere became its first prime minister. On 9th December 1961, Tanganyika gained independence, an event marked by a ceremony at the National Stadium. On 9th December 1962, a year after independence, Tanganyika became a republic and Nyerere's title shifted from Prime Minister to President. One of the early challenges of his presidency was the Zanzibar question. After the 1964 revolution on the islands, Nyerere acted decisively to integrate Zanzibar into the new union, declaring the United Republic of Tanzania. In 1967, through the Arusha Declaration, Julius Nyerere introduced the Ujamaa policy, or African socialism, which aimed to create self-reliant, cooperative villages and reduce inequality. In 1967, still, Nyerere, along with other East African head of states, namely Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya and Apollo Milton Obote of Uganda, formed the East African Community, a regional integration organization aiming at promoting economic cooperation between the East African states. However, despite his reputation as a principled and visionary leader, Julius Nyerere's presidency was not without weaknesses and controversies. His Ujamaa policy, though rooted in ideals of equality and self-reliance, often flattered in practice. The forced villagization program uprooted millions, disrupting traditional ways of life and leading to food shortages and economic stagnation. Critics argued that his socialist vision, while noble, left Tanzania dependent on foreign aid and lagging behind its neighbors economically. Politically, Nyerere's commitment to a one-party system drew significant criticism. While he defended it as necessary for national unity, opponents saw it as a tool for suppressing political freedoms and silencing dissent. The Zanzibar question, though resolved through the Union, also remained controversial, with accusations that the mainland dominated the islands and limited their autonomy. Over time, growing discontent with economic hardships and limited political space tarnished the image of his otherwise moral and unifying leadership. By the late 1970s and 1980s, Julius Nyerere's presidency faced mounting challenges. The economy weakened under the strain of Ujamaa policies, droughts, and rising debts, while discontent grew over shortages and declining living standards. Yet his leadership remained firm during moments of crisis, most notably in 1978 to 1979, when he led Tanzania into war against Idi Amin of Uganda, a campaign that successfully toppled the dictator and boosted Nyerere's stature as a regional statesman. Recognizing the country's need for fresh leadership, Nyerere voluntarily stepped down in 1985 after 24 years as president, handing over power to Ali Hassan Mwinyi. Even in retirement, he remained influential as the Mwalimu or teacher, guiding debates on democracy and African unity. He also played a mediating role in regional conflicts, including efforts to restore peace in Burundi. On 14 October 1999, Julius Nyerere died in St. Thomas Hospital, London, leaving behind a mixed legacy, revered for being integrity and visionary, yet remembered for economic hardship under his socialist experiment. What is your take on Julius Nyerere as an African leader? Let me know in the comment section below. Will it be ridiculous? If you like and share this video. If no, please like, share and follow my channel so you don't miss our next videos. It is once again your teacher, Mr. Seven Kupamuzafan. Let me catch you on the next one.